Solo travel has just been my thing. I've been to 81 countries, and it really has cultivated self-confidence and getting to sort of define who I am. It's my foundation.
Do you recognize that voice? That is the voice of Pamela Holt, the host creator of Me, Myself, and the World. And we are going to be talking about one of the biggest trends, particularly for women, in ageless travel. And that is solo travel. No, I do not mean paying for a single supplement and going on a group tour. I mean traveling by yourself, alone, but never lonely. How would you like to actually follow somebody off the beaten path as she lives the life you really honestly, let's face it, want to live? And that is traveling throughout the world. Well, that's what we're going to do right now with Pamela Holt. She is a world traveler, 93 countries, and still counting. She is the host of Me, Myself, and the World. You can find that on Go Traveler. For those of us whose barrier is that we need to travel alone, or there's some spirit in us that wants to travel alone, there's no better guide than Pamela Holt. So thank you so much for being with us today, Pamela.
Thank you, Adrienne. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, this is a great pleasure. And as I said to you really before the show, I want to delve really deeply into your advice. Now, you have a great backstory. We're going to cover it. Your mom, who's 83, she travels. You have really guided her into traveling solo. She's probably been your inspiration as well. But for our folks, we need to know very quickly, if we have never traveled by ourselves and we desire to do that, either because we've lost a companion and we know it's time to get out there, or because we have that spirit of adventure and want to do it ourselves, what would be some of the advice you'd give us to really make that happen?
Well, I think for the first time solo traveler who's intimidated by the word solo, which for so many people, they equate it with being alone. And I've redefined it. And I think this mindset shift will really help people. I've redefined solo to an acronym, SOLO, Seeking Out Life's Opportunities. And that is for anybody at any age. And knowing that mindset, going into solo traveling as a first-time solo traveler with, I am here to seek out life's opportunities, can really change things for people. It's how it sort of sits in you versus, oh gosh, I'm traveling alone this year. And so I think that mind shift will really help people. And also it takes away a lot of the fear that people feel about traveling solo. And the other thing is when you're seeking out life's opportunities, your circle as a solo traveler is really open to meeting other people. And honestly, I find it hard not to meet people when I solo travel. I put on a smile, and that conveys the openness and the willingness to meet people and chat with people and share experiences and stories with other travelers immediately.
I have to say on this one, Me, Myself, and the World, which is very visual, shows you doing exactly that. You are meeting people. That's exactly what you're showing. Now, I'm very involved with the issues of loneliness. And what I think you're saying is alone is not lonely. In fact, it could be just the opposite. It could be the catalyst for new friends. So
absolutely.
On a personal basis, in all these 93 countries, have you kept them being able to maintain friends? Because one thing we do, even when we're not alone, is we meet these great people. It could be on a cruise, or it could be a tour, or in the street. Oh, I'll give you my email. I'll give you my WhatsApp. Then you never talk to them again for the rest of your life. How do you keep contact on a personal basis?
Yeah, well, I think what's so wonderful is to connect with everybody on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. I love Facebook. I have so many friends there, and I get to see what they're doing. As soon as I open up my Facebook in the morning to maybe post something for myself, I see other people and their experiences and their travels. And in fact, there's a girl that I opened up my Instagram. I saw that she was in Argentina. I instantly said, oh my gosh, I can see that you're near a wonderful restaurant. She went to the restaurant. She met new people. And she said, just because you reached out to me and saw on social media that I was there, I then went to that restaurant. I then met these people, and then I did a bike tour with them. So it's wonderful, that butterfly effect of friends and connection. And a lot of it, to answer your question, is through social media.
Yeah. So, when we say solo, many people are very intimidated even to take their first tour by themselves. But in your case, you really are traveling by yourself. So I have two questions. One, are you really alone? Because many of the things you do get photographed. This is a wonderful show. So there's got to be some crew around you. I'd like to discuss that. So how alone are you when you're doing this?
Well, I love that you asked me that question. I actually traveled totally solo for 7.5 weeks. I then went back and retraced my steps with a camera crew. So to answer your question, the experiences that you're seeing on camera, I already went through those experiences once, except for a few things that popped up while we were there. I already walked the walk because I wanted to experience all those locations as a solo traveler before I talked about them, shared them, and encouraged people to reach out and try that experience.
Well, that is actually a service, a wonderful service, and really leads me to the second question, and that is safety. When we talk about solo travel, I have to admit to you guys, and I mean you guys, that I don't think of guys. I'm thinking of all the millions of women who are now traveling solo. It is a big trend. There's no doubt in the tourism industry, and it's mostly women. So you're beautiful. We've seen you. You got that long, gorgeous blonde hair. Have you found safety issues? And if so, how have you made sure that you stay safe?
Yeah. In 93 countries and territories, I have run into safety issues, but I pack my wits. There are safety issues in Los Angeles, in New York. I haven't run into anything that was outside the scope of just a city, being in a city. I pack my wits. I address safety by being very cognizant, by being aware, knowing where I'm going, knowing what I'm doing, and really listening to my gut. That we were all born with that instinct, and it's important for females to listen to it. So if I were to give one piece of advice, there are a thousand websites online that can teach you about safety as a solo traveler. But what so many of them don't talk about is pack your wits and trust your gut. Two things that we were given for free when we were born. And I think ultimately they are the most important. I always ask people, like, hey, do you go to a grocery store by yourself? Well, certainly I do. Well, there are women in these other cities that are going to grocery stores by themselves, or going to the cafe or the theater or wherever they're going to. And it's just a matter of being cognizant and aware of your surroundings.
The fact is, I'm not afraid. People ask me, are you ever afraid? And I go into a lot of countries that have risk associated with them. I'm not afraid because I was born in Brooklyn. My awareness level is way up there. I could feel it. I could actually feel it. So I make a joke. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to learn a little bit of the language before I go. What are you going to learn? Oh, I'm going to learn where's the menu? How do I pay the check? Where's the bathroom? I say, no, the first thing you should learn is don't even think about it. Because that's the first thing in every language. I could say, don't even think about it. So that's Brooklyn for you.
Do you know what I do? Actually, whenever I'm speaking about solo travel, I always tell women, if you think somebody's following you, I whip around. I give them the tough mom look, and I whip around and I just stare them down and I say, how you doing? Because that how you doing? Oh, it conveys a lot.
I learned this from a very wonderful woman named Dorothy Schreiber. She spoke 8 languages. She looked like Ingrid Bergman, for those of you who remember that great actress. And she was about 6'2". And we would go throughout Manhattan in a very bad time in Manhattan. When people were stealing chains from your neck, they would just go. And she would turn around, just what you said. And simply in her big German accent say, don't even think about it. And people would run. People in hoodies would just be scattered throughout. They would go. So, yeah, I learned that you could do that. And I'm only 5 feet tall. And they still run away. So this is important.
I have been told by friends that have seen me traveling that I look different when I travel. I have this don't mess with me look. I can be so friendly. But yeah, I kind of put on that little armor of I'm going to be super nice until I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is armor. If you're from the inner city like I am, you're born with armor. But the fact
Yes.
is, we call it fierce. Just be fierce. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell everybody about how they can ask us questions and how we can get those questions to you through our big new portal, which is so exciting to me because we can answer your questions that you really have in real time, not just listen to us. We can listen to you now. So don't you guys go anywhere. And we'll let you know also about our Facebook salon so that you never feel that loneliness and connect through travel. Don't go anywhere. One of the things that we are committed to at the Ageless Traveler is that you know each other, you greet each other, and you share with each other. And there's one way to do it. Join our Facebook salon. We call it a salon because we have the most incredible conversations together. How do you do it? Very simple. You go to agelesstraveler.com. That's it, agelesstraveler.com. And right on the first page, it will say join our salon. Click it, give us some information about yourself, and you are approved. How wonderful to be able to meet with like-minded people, ask questions and get them answered. And perhaps you've got information for others, but there's a lot more of sharing than that. If you go to agelesstraveler.com and go to our podcast page, you will see a little red icon that says, leave us a message. Yes, you can ask your questions, even text it in real time, voice time. It's a voicemail. And guess who gets it? Me. I get it directly, and I will make sure your question is answered on the air, as well as by experts if I don't know the answers, which I usually do. So you'll find all of this and a lot more at agelesstraveler.com. And now we're back. And let me reintroduce our wonderful guest. You're already riveted, I know, to her story, Pamela Holt, 93 countries. She's only, I don't know, can I tell them how old you are? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
54 years old. Nothing. Let me tell you. So, but 93 countries. And she, of course, is the producer and the host of Me, Myself, and the World. You can find that on Prime Amazon. You can find that for free on Go Traveler, another streaming platform. So before we talk about how you got into actually becoming a celebrity, I'd like to ask a question that honestly I hate to be asked. And that question is, where is your favorite place to travel? I know it's impossible because, I've been to 110 countries. I can't do it. But I'm going to ask you anyway. What did you love?
Well, there are obviously a few bragging rights like Antarctica or the North Pole, which were really unique. Whenever somebody asks me that question, my mind goes right to Italy and Greece. I've just so enjoyed getting lost in the streets, wandering, even going into grocery stores, finding new food, talking to locals. The back streets of Italy and Greece mesmerize me, and I feel so at home and just at ease. I love it.
Yeah, I think favorite places are a feeling as much as it is a place.
Yes.
And, because we travel a lot, we don't want to disappoint people. We want to give them something, as you say, exotic, right? Mm-hmm. So I often say Cambodia, which is a country I actually do love. And people generally go and they see Angkor Wat, but they don't see a whole lot more of it. But that's really not exactly true. Exactly true for me. I like London and I like Galicia, a place called Vigo. And those are fairly ordinary places. Most people go there. It's not something that, you end up putting on your bucket list. You probably went to London in some kind of organized tour or something, or even business. But, you want to be impressive. But that's the truth. It's where you feel most comfortable in the world that I think you love the best.
One of my biggest surprises was Bali, Indonesia. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with the people, their culture. I've never met people like the Balinese. They're so unique, so calm, so they have so much spirit in them and so much kindness. I just loved it. I loved it so much. I've been back
I
3 times.
felt that way. Again, the surprise for me was Malaysia. At that time, they were beginning to call. Now it's old news. They had a slogan was Malaysia truly Asia, and it really was because it was politically Chinese. However, there was a lot of Muslim culture. There was Portuguese culture in Malacca, which is one of my favorite cities in the world. And then I went to Borneo, which was a great dream of mine. And at that point, it really was tribal. And so you could live in a longhouse. You could learn how to, shoot a blowpipe. I don't know if everybody wants that as their skill on their resume, but I could shoot a blowpipe. It was great.
I love that you tried that.
Oh yeah, I try everything. What I loved was the spirit, as you said, the spirit of the people, their understanding of the land. This was not an easy place to live. Fantastic. And the animals. The animals. They have in other parts of Malaysia, there's orangutan forests. So it's not the usual safari, but it's wonderful. So let's now go to your favorite food. You've eaten in 93 countries. How does that, and person is going solo. Maybe they really are a U.S. type of eater, and this exotic stuff is difficult for them. What would you say? What would you recommend? What's the cuisine you love?
Well, I think Thai food is my it's my go-to food, even when I'm in America. I seek out local Thai food where, in particular, I live in Los Angeles, and I know a Thai restaurant where they source locally, but they bring in from Thailand certain spices because they're just fresher from there. So I think Thai is my favorite. I've eaten Thai food. One of the best Thai restaurants I've been to is in Puerto Rico. Oddly enough, I think it's called the King and I. Oh my gosh, the best restaurant ever.
That is quite amazing. And I have to throw in a little ageless traveler stuff. So I do not need low salt. It was a mistake, but I was diagnosed with needing low salt 2 days before I went to Vietnam. And for those who don't know, Vietnamese food is excellent, but it's the highest salt content cuisine in the world. So what do? There's a lot of things you can do, whether you're diabetic, whether you need low salt, to eat beautifully all over the world, because people in the world of tourism want you there, and they really will help. And if you particularly are brave enough, and this is the right thing to do, to go on a culinary tour, to go to local restaurants, these people own those restaurants. So they are the chef owners. And if you say to them what you need, they will do it for you. So that's, to me, one of the most important parts of travel is eating. Right now, I would say before our break, I want to go to the people. Your show, Me, Myself, and the World, is really me, myself, and the people of the world when you watch it, because the interactions are really what's so wonderful here. You talked about your favorite food and your favorite places. For your episodes, what did you have the most fun in your episodes because of the people that you were able to meet and show to everybody else?
I think one of the most memorable, and I would hands down the most special episode, I met a lady named Pat. She is in her 60s, an American veteran, and she had come to Vietnam to meet a Vietnamese veteran. And I had the honor of bringing them together to share their experiences from the Vietnam War and just what was that. Now, Pat did not, she joined the military to fight in the Vietnam War. And it was for her something she felt like she needed to, I guess, atone for. And so to bring her together with a 3-time war veteran in Vietnam was so special. I don't think the camera really ever can catch the feeling that was in the room. I don't know if any of us ever really, I don't think we were prepared for what was going to happen or not happen. We didn't know how he was going to feel. He had brought a friend with him, and he invited us into his home, and we spent the entire time literally having him play all his different instruments, share food with us that he and his family had prepared and wanted us to experience. And there was so little talk about the war, but yet, and actually I'm going to get emotional.
Yeah, I could hear it in your voice.
I'm struggling because for Pat and I, we were so honored that he would allow us into his place, into his home, and to freely ask questions and to freely speak. You know, at the end of the day, nobody's a winner because lives have been lost. And I'm a huge supporter of American veterans, huge. And it was difficult to go there and for her to ask questions, and both of them ask for each other's forgiveness. And he was forced to go to war at 15, 16 years old. This was not someone who ruthlessly said, "Oh, I don't like Americans. Let's do this." They were kids. They were both kids, like 15 and 19. So it was very cathartic for them. And as a person who grew up going to Pearl Harbor, I grew up in Hawaii, and going to Pearl Harbor and seeing Japanese and an American meet each other at Pearl Harbor, didn't even know each other, and hug and come together. That was a pièce de résistance for me for the entire season 1 and 2. It was a gift.
Wow.
And I think I attracted it because I am such a big supporter of veterans. And for this American veteran, she needed closure.
Yep. You know, the idea of travel for many people is work. I have to go to the airport. I have to pack. I have to spend money. I have to run here and there. And they don't travel. They don't travel because they see it as work. But really, it's experience. What you're bringing into your life is not only other people, but the experience that is so transformative that here is a person who's been to 93 countries, and she can still cry over one incident that happened as a result of travel. What a beautiful picture. I mentioned Cambodia a few minutes ago because that's one of the countries that their pressure and their problems are very recent with the Khmer Rouge. And you do meet people who still are reeling from that terrible, oppressive society. And you never, ever forget their spirit, because the spirit is beyond anything I've ever seen. So, yes, that's what you take back, and you can call upon it as you get older. Call upon it internally. And it's very, very inspiring. And that's what we're really talking about. So when we come back, I hope I'm going to inspire you to go on safari with us. This is our first trip that we're taking together. So listen up, and we will be back in just a moment. What are you doing between March 29th and April 12th, 2025? Are you going on safari? Well, we are. Please come with us on our very first Ageless Traveler trip. I will make sure that you see everything that's on your bucket list. We're going with the very famous Colette Tours, one of the oldest tour operators in the United States. They know us, they respect us, and they provide for us everything that we need. Yes, we are going to Kenya. We will see the city of Nairobi. We're going to the Serengeti. We will see the Big Five. We will also have adventures of a lifetime. If you have been studying safari, or even if you have gone on many safaris, this is something really different. So how do you find out about it and get your special discounts because you're an ageless traveler? Very simple. Go to agelesstraveler.com. That's our website, agelesstraveler.com. Take a look at featured trips. Get the details by clicking right there. You can do everything from inquire, get your question answered, to book right away so that you're going with us. It is a terrific, terrific tour. And by the way, you can also go to the Masai Mara on an optional pre-trip tour. There's a lot more to it than that, because there's yet more opportunity if you have longed to trek with the gorillas in Uganda. Yep, we can make that happen too. So please take a look at agelesstraveler.com, featured travel, and go on safari with us. Okay, we're back again. I just want to talk about the business here for a minute, getting away from all the touchy-feely stuff and the beauty of travel. How did you do that? Did you wake up in the morning and say, well, look, I'm going to all these places. I may as well show the world. I mean, this is not an easy thing to do. And although there are 4 million podcasts, but like 3 of them break out. And you were able to do that, of course, with a video. So how'd you do it?
Well, I come from a filmmaking background. I went to UCLA for theater film school, and I was in the film and television industry working as an actor and also a little bit of TV hosting. So I had years of experience crafting a story, crafting a show, understanding the mechanics, and had even sold a short film at the Cannes Short Corner, which is a pretty big it's a big market at Cannes. And so I had all of that behind me, as well as I had already traveled to 93 countries and territories. And my 50th birthday was coming up. I knew for sure that I wanted to do something on my own, to solo travel and to celebrate and do something epic, something off my bucket list. And so I planned this 7.5 week, I called it my Golden Jubilee. And I said, I'm going to go on my Golden Jubilee birthday and travel for 7.5 weeks. And I was on a train. I was traveling from Hanoi down to, I think, Hoi An. It was an overnight train. And I was videoing something for social media. And it hit me like a lightning bolt. And I said, wait a minute. I know how to make film and television. I know how to craft a story. And I've been to 93, at that point, 93 countries and territories. I'm making a TV show. Fantastic. And of course, I had a lot of friends in the industry, which ended up proving to be not useless, but none of them came through and helping me get distribution. So what I did is I fully financed the entire series myself and filmed it, wrote it, produced it, hired a camera guy, hired an editor, as well as I edit as well. And I shot the whole thing. I'd shoot all day and do all my storyboarding and everything, my call list, my checklist, and checking with destinations for the next day all night. And then I would sleep an hour, get up, full face makeup for on camera, and throw on my producer and hosting hat, and away I went every day for 23 days straight. So,
see, folks, there's nothing to it. You just
nothing to it.
You just get up in the morning and there it is.
I just show up. I woke up like this.
Show up. There's nothing to it. What's the big deal? Well, by the way, I've taken that train from Hanoi to Hoi An, which is one of my favorite cities is actually Hoi An. But I took it the way I like to go, which is the cheapest possible way. And here's my suggestion. Take the lower bunk and bring your own toilet paper. So that's all I can tell you about traveling the way I do. And by the way, I won't take a break for this because I really want to go talk a bit about your mom while we have time. We did publish a free ebook for you called Luxury Travel for Less. It's very easy to get, luxurytravelforless.info. And it's 32 pages with 75 websites of all of my hints and tips on how I can afford to travel all over the world. And there's 2 of us. So it gets pricey. But one of those ways is I'm pretty brave. And I didn't take the first class on that train. And I'm so glad because, again, you meet the right people and you eat the more exotic foods. But all right, now let's go to Mom for a minute. Everybody should know we're going to have a YouTube. We're going to be talking a little bit intimately about her crisis that she had in her life. I'll talk about it for a second now. But we'll also be talking intimately about her mom because she's 54 years old, but Mom's 83 and also a traveler. Tell us a little bit about what you think her hints and tips would be. I think she just came back from a trip.
My mom, Pat, is the OG solo traveler.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. She is actually the one who, when we lived in Hawaii, she took us to Southeast Asia. I mean, both my parents, but she planned the entire trip. And traveling at that time, and my sister and I were 12, 13, 14 years old, it was about the experience that she wanted to impart on us. And so once my sister and I were off to school, my mom has always solo traveled. She's been a fearless traveler and a trailblazer in not only her business, but as a traveler, inspiring her other friends to travel. And she is fine. She has just as much fun if she goes on. She just got back from a 35-day cruise. She has found a gal that she can travel with, and they're literally roommates. They don't do any of the same tours. And my mom loves being solo. She loves getting out there and meeting new people, sharing travel stories, having dinners, going to the show, maybe a little gambling. And she loves it. And so actually during the pandemic, I think she went on 2 or 3 trips and had a terrific time. Prices were low. She jumped on them, and she really, really lives life to the fullest. And obviously that rubbed off on me.
Well, no, obviously it did. And I'm hoping that I'm 76. I'm hoping this will rub off on my kids as well and the grandkids. And I love to hear this because skip generation is also a big thing now where grandparents are going with their grandchildren.
Yeah,
I have
skip gen travel.
Skip gen travel. I have a 6-year-old, and she admired a little lamp. It looked like an Aladdin's lamp in her friend's house in LA, by the way. And the mother said, "Oh, I bought that in Morocco." And my granddaughter, 6 years old, said, "Oh, well, when my grandma goes to Morocco, I'll ask her to pick one up for me." So she actually knows that I am a world traveler. And I think that's going to be rub off, as you say, as it's done with you. Well, we're going to be back in a moment. I want to tell everybody about a product that I discovered. You know, we're very careful about curating travel products because we get inundated with this. But this is one for aches and pains. And for those of you who know that I'm a long-distance walker, you know I've got plenty of aches and pains. This is a really wonderful garment. So don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be right back. I have a couple of questions for you. Do you sometimes experience joint pain or body pain? Do you worry that the airplane rides are too long for you because they really hurt? Or are you concerned that you cannot walk pain-free on some of those great tours you want to take? Well, as you know, the Ageless Traveler has curated several products that we think are great for travel, and they're unique. And this one is Intelligent Threads. It's T-shirts and socks and pants and even sheets, stuff that you can take with you, use at home to be much more pain-free. It is a very unique technology that they use to weave their garments. And you'll find out all about it, how this technology works, and how it can improve not only your day-to-day life, but the ease with which you travel. Simply go to agelesstraveler.com, and you will see exactly how to buy them, how to get your discounts because you are an ageless traveler, and what it can do for you. That's agelesstraveler.com. Travel products. Never stop traveling. Hello, we are back again. This is the Ageless Traveler. Don't forget to go to agelesstraveler.com. It's simply agelesstraveler.com. That's where you can join our salon and meet new people and even have new travel companions or share your stories. You can go to agelesstraveler.com travel stories, and you'll see a way that you can write for us. We really love guest writers, and we have several of them. And you can also get all the information on our safari trip. This is the first time that we will actually be traveling together, and we call it a trip for wellness, not just for sightseeing, not just for the food. To me, that's a given. But the wellness and the companionship and the lasting companionship is what it's all about. So we're speaking here with Pamela Holt. She is the impresario behind Me, Myself, and the World, Amazon Prime, Go Traveler, 2 streaming platforms where you can see these shows. I did so, and I really am glad I did. Many of them are heartwarming. All of them are very, very informative. So, Pamela, let's go now to something that you brought up, and that is the golden gap years. Explain to everybody what this trend is about and how your family actually participated in it.
Oh, thank you. I love the golden gap year. People think of gap year for a lot of students who postpone going to college or grad school and taking a year off. But now, especially in the wake of the pandemic, you have this huge demographic of travelers aged 50 plus who are setting off to see the world for months and some of them even years. And they're calling it the golden gap year or golden gappers. Oddly enough, my parents did this. They were young 40s and they had been keeping up with the Joneses and working to that point, since their late teens, early 20s. And they said, hey, what if we moved to Hawaii for 6 months? My dad had a business that could sustain itself. And we moved to Hawaii for 6 months, rented our home out. And then every 6 months, we would take a vote to see who wanted to go home. That never happened. So we stayed a year and a half. We eventually had to come home. And the final vote after a year and a half was, do we stay? And so we literally went back to California. My sister went to her final year of high school in California. She could go to a California school, university. And we just spent that 10 months packing up and literally selling everything we owned. And we went back to Hawaii with suitcases. And that was it.
Wow,
So we'd already been there. But that was the start of what they're now calling the Golden Gap Year. And for my parents, they eventually went back to work. But we took a couple of years off as a family. We traveled all throughout Asia. It was incredible and such a learning lesson for both my sister and I, kind of not only how the other half lives, how the rest of the world lives.
Yes, yes.
And
well, I guess I've had a gap life. I once said to my friend, I'm retiring, and they said, from what? So, wow. All right, that was an awakening with that moment. But yes, so this is fantastic. But you talked about families traveling. Please take a look at one of our podcasts, Ronan McMahon. And he's teaching us how to do just what her family did, which is rent or even buy a home in another country, permanently, temporarily, or even as a second home. It's a really wonderful podcast we have with a lot of show notes and a YouTube channel on that. So this is for those of you who have that itch to move abroad or travel abroad, rent, buy, whatever, retire. It's a great show, Ronan McMahon show on The Ageless Traveler. Now, let's wrap up with something really inspirational, and that is the way you're mentoring the younger people in your life so they become travelers, and what actually happened when you tried to send them around the world.
so when my niece and nephews were probably 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe one was 7, one was down to 3, I said, okay, if you graduate college or a quality trade school, I will give you an around the world ticket for graduation. And so my niece recently graduated from college and she got such a great job. She's like, okay, Auntie, I do not have time to travel around the world. So can I cash that in for my fiance and I to go to Europe plus hotels? And I said, absolutely, but you got to go off the beaten path. And I'm going to plan a few things for you to really see the places that you're going to, get your feet a little dirty. And they had the best time because some days they didn't exactly know exactly where they were going. I planned a few days for them. And the other 2 have not graduated yet. So their round the world tickets are waiting for them. And I really did that to inspire them to get out of their bubble, their life in their neighborhood and their state and their country and go explore. I think it is so important. I think if people always say, what would you do if you won the lottery? 100%, I would have scholarship funds for kids to travel, actually starting at like age 10, 12 years old, because that's where the imprint of what the rest of the world is like and how wonderful the world is and also how similar we all are. I think it's so important for these kids to experience that. And for the families who do take gap years, even when the kids are young and maybe sail around the world, or I love that people get in RVs and homeschool and see this great country of ours. It is exquisite and there's so much to see, and you can get to Latin America and Canada so quickly in an RV. I love it. And I think the golden gap year doesn't even have to start at 50. And we can start inspiring kids at a much younger age to travel and explore and be inquisitive. My parents got me one Christmas National Geographic World Magazine for kids. I still have every issue, and I think that was a massive inspiration for me to get to see that what other kids were doing around the world and what other kids were, 13-year-olds flying an airplane to another country. And
fantastic. Well, we're going to have in a few minutes, we will go on our YouTube, and we're both actually going to talk a little bit about a crisis in our own individual lives. Don't wait for that, guys. Go out. If you said that what you wanted to do is travel, go out and travel. Please take a look at if you want to travel with grandkids, as we're hearing here, or younger children. If you're an aunt or an uncle, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and take a look at our full series. We have a 3-part series on what we call skip generation travel, what you call grandparent travel, how to do it, including a wonderful interview with an 83-year-old grandma who still takes her 21-year-old grandchildren on trips together because they bonded when they were 10 years old. Exactly what you're hearing from Pamela right now. Okay, I thank you guys so much. I thank you, Pamela, but you're not off the hook. We are going on YouTube in just a moment. And for everybody else, you know what I'm going to say. Take a look at agelesstraveler.com. Join our salon there. Very easy to do on Facebook. Come visit with us on our new voicemail. And you'll find all of this on the show notes, including how to find the show, Me, Myself, and the World, on Amazon Prime and Go Traveler. Never stop traveling.